Hello and welcome to We Will Manage, the podcast exploring the weird and wonderful world of work. We're two young professionals figuring out our careers one conversation at a time. Today, we're diving into the topic of women in business.
And it was with our first ever guest, which was very exciting.
Yeah, I think it went well. It was lots of fun.
Lots of fun. We had great fun. She's called Marina. We hope you enjoy her company as much as we did. And yeah, just enjoy this conversation as much as we did. There we go.
Good.
Oh, we didn't warn you. Tea is mandatory.
Oh yeah, we always drink tea.
I have water from Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo, that's amazing.
Yes, look. It's my favorite bottle.
Just
keep swimming.
Yes. It's so nice. I love it.
I'm gonna stick.
But yes, I have a drink.
Perfect. I also have water because I drink so much when I'm recording. I don't know what it is.
Yes. Also, if we are going to.
Yeah, I don't think it's because I get nervous, but I don't know. But I drink so much, so I also have water. But start off with tea.
Perfect.
It's so funny you say that. You know something? I have now been working for 3 years, and like video calls has been a thing since COVID, basically before COVID. I still sweat every time I'm on a video call.
Oh my god!
I don't know if it's nerves or what.
That's so
It
strange.
should be.
Yeah, it must be. That is so weird. It's 5 years now.
Me, this is because it's something strange like the podcast and everything, but normally if I'm with my bosses or with my colleagues, I'm like used to it, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I guess. It is. If I'm just talking to like my colleagues, then I'm fine. But if I talk to anybody, any kind of conference call, even if it's like me, I'm the one that's like in charge, and they should be the one that's stressing out. It's still me.
It's still you. Spoiler, it's still me. Yeah, so as we said, this is our first time like interviewing someone, so we were trying to think of things kind of to make you feel comfortable as well, you know, just to get into it rather than just start talking. And also to get to know you a bit more as well. So that was just kind of some things that we thought just for people to get to know you. And
perfect. Okay, fantastic.
So we have a little game to make you good. Yeah, it's nice to start the recording before, because then it's not like 5.
Yes.
4, 3.
Now speak. Fun fact.
Fun fact. Who are you? Why are you interested in why are you on this podcast?
No, but for real, like I listened to your podcast while I was cooking, and it was very good. I love the networking thing about the food because it's literally me.
I love that.
I feel like that's what most people have related to.
Yeah. It's so funny.
And also the part, because normally I think about it like, not I'm going to take advantage of this, just like meeting people because I like this social stuff. So I just normally take it as a way of meeting people in a conference and making friends. Obviously, it's not the same, but it's something similar. So yes, I really agreed with you. It was really good. Cool. I liked it.
I received an application, like a spontaneous application to the company I'm working at yesterday. And we couldn't offer her a job because we're not looking for her kind of profile, although she had a very interesting profile for the new startup. But obviously we don't have the money to pay for her yet. So, but anyway, I told her, come and meet me if you can, and I can see if I can help you in any way. And she's so cool. So I met a really cool person today. And I'm going to try and help her find a job. And if she doesn't have one from here until when I can actually hire someone, then there you go. That would work.
Yep, if you can wait it out. Amazing. I love that.
Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. And I'm very excited. I was saying that I was nervous, but now I feel more relaxed. And I'm very excited to be here because I think it's a very good podcast. So let's see what can we start from this conversation.
Yeah. So everybody, this is our first guest on We Will Manage
our guinea pig.
I'm honored.
So this is Marina.
Yes. Hello.
Maybe, do you guys want to, I don't know whether Alba, you want to tell a story, or Marina, of how we know each other? Because it's not like, we're not friends from a very long time.
No, we don't know each other from the real life.
It's true, only...
I was actually speaking to someone the other day and they were saying, oh, and you know, how did she find the podcast and she contacted you? I was like, no, we actually had a conversation about getting her onto the podcast before the first episode had even gone live.
Sure.
She completely trusted
It was at the beginning.
Yeah, totally beginning. And it's because we have a friend in common that we do both know from real life, who will also be on this podcast at some point for sure. Isa, shout out to Isa because I know she listens. And
hello, Isa, thank you.
Thank you for your feedback, Isa.
Yes. And I think Marina might have asked Isa if she knew of any podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah, that talked about business, and Isa said, well, they're not live yet, but shortly to be, yes, I do know. And we got in touch, which is so cool.
Yes, basically I was asking for this kind of opportunities because I'm now a lot into science communication, so I thought maybe a podcast would be a good idea. And I don't know, these things that you're just speaking, and she came out with this, and she came up with this, and I said, yes, why not?
Perfect.
I love it.
It just goes to show you have to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And you never know who knows someone.
Yeah. And it's also my first time doing this kind of thing, so let's see.
Good, we can all learn together.
Yeah. We'll figure it out, one conversation at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're into science communication, you mentioned. I guess that's the chance to tell a little bit about yourself. So correct me if I'm wrong. Marina is a biomedical engineer. You've done a master's degree in neuroscience, and you're currently a PhD student. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, so now I'm in my third year of the PhD. I'm a lot into science communication because I think it's a good way of making science accessible. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult for, I don't know, a more non-expertise population. So I think this is good to make what I do, that I think it's very useful, at least I see it that way, accessible to everybody. So my work now involves working with EMG signals, which are the signals you take to measure muscle activity. You know that sometimes you put some stickers over your skin, and with this you record the electrical activity of muscles. So I'm analyzing these signals that we recorded in Parkinson's patients during gait. So these will give us some information, we hope, some biomarkers to try to anticipate the detection of the disease, and in the future try to maybe help clinicians into these diagnostic procedures and try to improve treatments or rehabilitation strategies. So I hope we can help people with this. And no, I don't know, I'm very proud of what we do because patients are always so kind with us, so grateful because, I don't know, they feel useful because they are helping us, but we have to thank them more because they are helping us. So I don't know, it's a win-win, and it makes me feel very proud. So basically this is what I do now in my PhD. It's a roller coaster, you have some ups and downs, but I think it's worth it, at least for me.
Brilliant.
I love it.
Well, it's so cool to hear what you're working on, and maybe we could go a little bit more into detail at the end of the episode, because we're not going to be talking about scientific discoveries today. We're going to be talking about women in the working world.
But this is very good. I prefer it. I'm tired of science.
I can talk on a bit more.
Yeah. But before we jump into that, I'm going to kind of put you in the spotlight a little bit, get you all flustered and nervous, so that you've got that out the way. Got that out of the way. Gosh, I don't know how to speak. So we're going to play a little game called This or That.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you two options of things, and you're going to choose one. Any answer is correct.
Oh my God, like not thinking.
Yeah, not thinking. So before we start, This is something that we were supposed to do in our first episode and we never did. Do we let Marina answer by herself or do we all answer?
I think let's let Marina answer, and then maybe me and you, we can record a little extra.
Yeah,
so
let's do
if
that.
people want to know what our answers are, they can head over to our little bonus episode.
Yes, love that. Okay, let's do it.
I wonder, Alba, do you want to take turns in asking the questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's in our
Okay.
note.
I have a lot of pressure now.
Oh yeah, they're really tough ones. Really, really difficult.
Oh my God.
Right, I've got them open.
Okay, ready to go?
Yes, I'm
3,
ready.
2, I'll start. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Instant messages or emails?
Instant messages.
Ooh. Work from home or work in office?
Office.
Formal clothes or casual clothes?
Casual.
Brainstorm session or detailed plan?
Brainstorm, I think.
Video call or phone call?
Video call, I think.
Team collaboration or solo project?
Collaboration. I prefer it.
Extra holiday or bonus pay?
Extra holiday.
Deadline pressure or flexible timeline?
Oh, I'm a little bit more deadline pressure. I work better under pressure, I think.
Startup environment or corporate setting?
Maybe a startup.
Weekly sprints, so working fast, or monthly roadmaps, more long term?
Oof. I should be more roadmaps, but sometimes I'm more sprints.
Working at a coffee shop or a co-working space?
This is tough. I like coffee shops, not because of the coffee, but because of the
vibe.
The environment. Yes.
So strict 9 to 5 working hours or flexible hours?
Oof. I think I'm more into strict because with this you are like finished and you can rest or do another thing.
Interesting.
Yes.
We actually go into this in a different episode.
Yeah, we do. Open office or a private cubicle?
Oof. I think open office.
Video
Yes.
presentations or in-person demonstrations?
For me in person, yes.
Yeah.
I like this kind of
Mentor
things.
someone? Mentor someone or be mentored?
Oof. I think right now I'm more into mentoring.
Oh,
that's
nice.
cool.
Yes.
And
Then last one.
Jinx.
Performance review, so at the end of a certain time, or regular one-on-one check-ins. Do you understand the difference?
I'm more into performance reviews, I think. Well, I don't know if I understood well, like when you do their work and then you do like, yes, I prefer this, then the check-in. It's great, for example.
Yes, I think so do we.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oof, I'm going to put this because the other light is no battery, so sorry.
No worries.
Okay, so now we know a little bit more about you.
Yes, they were very good
random
questions.
You like them? Cool.
Yes. It made me think.
Yeah, some things that are obvious and others that you've never thought about.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, now that we've got that out of the way, maybe you're feeling a little bit more relaxed.
Yes, now.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the topic of the day is women in the working world. This is something that actually we asked Marina what she would like to talk about on the episode. Obviously, we're most interested in talking about topics that really interest the people that we're talking to. So I was wondering, Marina, if you could maybe tell us a little bit about why this subject interests you, what experience you have on the topic, and yeah.
Okay. So, yes, as I told you now, I'm into more things than science. Like, for example, science communication, which is science, but not like only research. And I'm also now getting into a lot this topic like equality, women rights, not because I'm suffering any consequences. Like, actually, I'm pretty lucky. I'm very happy with my work position now, with all my colleagues or my bosses. But it's true that I feel that we still have work to do. So that's why I'm getting a lot of opportunities now. For example, I did a video for my little niece for her kindergarten like we were asked to do some video explaining our work life or our projects. So I took this opportunity to kind of explain children that maybe they could have never thought about what is engineering, but also a woman in engineering. So yes, I took this advantage and I felt I was kind of doing something, just some little thing, but I really was very proud of kind of giving this role model to these children. So I got more into this topic, and now I knew that in my research center they have created a equality committee, not just women equality, but also LGBTQA plus committee. And I think this is very important. This is very good. Although we are a research center that we are focused only into research, I think this topic should be treated everywhere. So yes, like life has put me in this kind of topics. And yes, I don't know if I can do whatever I can do, as little as it may seem. I think it can help other. And yes, that's why it interests me. Because also, yes, people always think that engineer is something more only about maybe men, and this is changing now, and I'm very happy about this. So yes, I thought, why not? It will be an interesting topic for me.
Yeah, I love the idea of you recording a video for people in preschool and kindergarten.
Yeah.
Especially as an engineer yourself, I was actually looking into some stats when prepping for this episode to see, what are the numbers, what is actually the situation in the world. And currently, at least in the US, so this stat is specifically for the US, but only 16% of engineers and architects are women, which is so low. So especially in engineering.
I mean, I know it is more male dominated, but 16 seems so low. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's not even a 30%. Yes, but this you can really see it in the university, for example. Not my case. We can speak about this later. But for example, in some engineers that are more technical, you may encounter classes that are one woman and all guys. And this is happening right now also in Spain. So yes.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that also in the engineering schools I've been to. It was a bit better because I'm kind of in chemistry. I think is a bit better, and
yeah, because inside of engineering, there's so many different kinds of engineering, and I definitely feel like if you do one that's maybe chemical, maybe more women, I feel like then there's other ones that maybe are more male dominated. And it's interesting, Saoirse, because mechanical. You've got the experience from a Spanish university and from a French university, so it's really interesting. Did you see much difference between the countries, or was it pretty much the same?
There were definitely more women in the French school that I went to, but I think that might have to do with the fact that in Spain the university system is by number. You get into the system on depending on your score, whether you're male, female. There's no kind of selection. Whereas the engineering school I went to in France, it is a bit more subjective. Obviously, they take the best scoring students, but I do believe there's a bit of a selection, and I think they probably try and hit certain quotas of women, which is good. I mean, it's promoting women to more women to become more engineers and maybe be a bit of an example for those that come after them.
Yeah, I think this is the main point, at least as I see it, like the references, like you have to see women in these kind of fields to know that you can also achieve it. It may sound a silly thing, but it's true. Like
100%.
To even consider it,
exactly. It's something that you not only with women, it's something that's talked about a lot with white and black, like seeing representation of that you feel identified with the people that you're seeing on the screens or whatever is big. So I think it's definitely makes a big difference, because it feeds into that kind of self, like not even belief, but like that voice in your head that dictates of like, I can do this or I can't do that, which is completely what you decide. I think it feeds into that a lot. If you see it around you, then you think it's possible. If you don't, you just don't think about it. It's not that you don't think it's possible, it's that you just don't think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very similar to why there are so many people that grow up and do similar jobs to what their parents do, because they have that example.
Yes.
And it becomes a possibility. It becomes something that they can consider.
Yeah. And something that they feel they can, maybe it's something that they can almost depend on because they know more about it, because it's something closer to them. So it's like, this feels safe or not safe because of, you know, what I know.
Yes. So if you don't have this reference, you never may see it as even a possibility. So I think that's why it's important. And also what you said about the chemistry, it's quite more like women field. I'm also into this in my experience, because also this is biomedical, which is more into human biology, science. For example, in my class, we were mostly girls, only like 4 or 5 men. So yeah,
Wow.
I think that's
Out
it
of
was
how many?
the other way around.
Classes. Yeah. How big were the classes?
We were like in engineering is always the same. Like we started in first maybe 60, but then we ended 19. Like I have my, yes, I don't know how to say it.
What is it called?
I don't know
like
how to
with the
say
photos.
either.
No,
it's not the annually because we don't have it, but all the photos from the graduated, and we were like maybe 14 girls and 5 boys.
Wow.
So yes, in our field is a little bit different, and yes, as the same as in chemical engineering.
Yeah, it's interesting to wonder why. Like, I think maybe if we're talking about health-related things, maybe there's a slight empathy, kind of wanting to work. Not that guys aren't as empathetic, but I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, there's certain things. I have this like later on as well, when in kind of the outline that we have prepared for the episode, of why I work more in design and stuff, and people seem to prefer it. And I was kind of throwing out ideas of why that might be. And one of the things I put with like question marks was like, maybe it's because they feel like maybe women will listen more to what they want. Again,
yeah, it could be.
It feels
big generalization.
Like exactly. It feels anything that you say like that, you're like, well, I mean, depends the person you're talking to. Like you can have all kinds of people regardless of sex. But yeah, who knows? I mean, I think those kind of things are just there. And is maybe more, you might see it more in women. That doesn't mean that all women are more empathetic and that than all men. Of course, but it's something that maybe is just more prominent. I don't know.
I think it's something historical, maybe. Like we are always, people always think we are more careful, like we take care of others because, I don't know, maybe now things are changing, but if you see a traditional family, the mom is always the one that takes care of the children.
Of course.
The man can be maybe working and also now the mom work and also she has to take care. So I think maybe historically we are more into this kind of things like creativity, of health, but of cooking. But this is curious because then you go to maybe high cuisine and you see that the majority of chefs are men. Or you go into art and most famous painters are men. Or I don't know, some famous surgeon can also be the majority men. So this is something that I cannot think about the real answer because if they trust us more, for example, in your case, Alba, that they are trusting you more for doing creativity things, why then in the most important levels of this field, you have the majority of men. So yes, this is something to think about.
Yeah.
This is
100%.
it's such a good point. And
Yeah.
it comes down to women, no matter the domain, no matter the industry, it comes to the subject of women in leadership. So women in being in charge, women being the boss, women being, you know, at that management position. And it's fact there are less women in leading roles.
Yeah.
I can bring out some numbers again.
Yeah, do it.
There's a brilliant stat that I loved. There was a study performed by EY that found that there are more men on corporate boards named James, John, Robert, or William than there are women on boards in total.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
There-
What?
The men
I thought you were
with these
saying-
4 names outnumber women on boards
In
entirely.
general. Crazy.
Oh my God.
That is
No,
mad.
I was thinking that
specific.
these names were more powerful, not that more than women. So that's crazy. Like, wow.
That is so crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think it's also reflected. So you guys were saying that about in like the like relation to women and men in your degrees. In mine, it was very half and half. It was, I mean, I don't know numbers, but I mean, it was, you'd look at the class and it was very even throughout the class. At the beginning, when there was 60 of us, to the end, when in mine, there's not that big a difference, maybe 40 of us. A few people went leaving, but it wasn't quite as drastic as yours. But then in the field, like you say, when you look at photographers, directors, producers, all of those kind of jobs, it's mainly men. But if in the degree it's men and women, then why, like half and half, then why is it that you then see out there actually working in the field, you see more men? It's so interesting. Like, what happens there? At what point does that kind of divide happen?
Do you think you could tell us a little bit about your personal experience being a woman in the industry and how you feel?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's a bit like what Marina was saying. I feel lucky in the sense that I haven't felt discriminated in my job for being a woman. I've actually felt a bit the opposite, where it's kind of worked in my favor. On the one hand, for being a entrepreneur, there's extra grants, for example, for women. So there's lots of extra grants for young people in general, people under 35. But there's even more if you're a woman that's under 35. Again, because there's less women who are entrepreneurs. So they're trying to encourage the ones that are. And then on another side with the clients. So where I've noticed it the most is in photography. I've had a lot of clients come to me saying that the reason they chose me, it's either things, they always say, obviously, we liked your portfolio, but then they always end up adding things of like, we just felt more comfortable that you were a woman. Even guys will say this, like it's mainly women who will say it, but even guys will say, I just felt more comfortable knowing that you're a woman rather than a guy. And the amount of stories, normally from women, that I've heard of, I was with a photographer, a guy, and things got really creepy really fast and just, uncomfortable is crazy. Like most women who I've done sessions with who have done quite a few photography sessions, it's either that they've come across guys who they've had really weird, uncomfortable situations with, or just been reached out to by male photographers saying, there's also people say that photographers are creeps because of guys. This isn't, I know male photographers who are lovely. Like this isn't obviously everyone, but I have heard so many stories. And then my sister, actually, she did modeling for a while and she got so many male photographers saying that they would do like free photos of her if she, came to their studio, and they always just felt so weird. So for the photography side especially, I felt like people are more open and trusting from the beginning because I'm a woman. And in design as well, I feel like they would rather choose me for branding or web design, more for branding than web design. I think web design is one of those that's been around for longer, and again there are much more male got more men in it.
Maybe
But
they see
especially
it more
for the
of like
branding.
a technical
Exactly.
job
Absolutely.
than a creative job.
Graphic designers, web designers, all that kind of stuff. You see, even like people who message me, like asking if I've got openings in my studio and stuff. So many that are, like I say, graphic designers, web designers, that kind of more, like you say, technical, are men over women. And then the only area that I've only ever really come across other women is in the social media side of things. For the social media management, everyone that I've come across has been women who work in it, not guys. So
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's like I say, it's a big mix. You'll find more male photographers than women photographers, but clients prefer to work with women photographers. In branding and design, it's a big mix. But again, I feel like they often say that they like my design because it feels more soft and flexible. Whereas when you look at other designers who are male, they very often are much more harsh and it feels more rigid. So then obviously as someone who's coming, if you've got a very clear style that's very strong, that doesn't feel as open to maybe what you, and that's where I put the, like, maybe it's the listening and adapting to somebody else.
Yeah.
Could that be a part of it? I don't know. And then, yeah, with social media, all women. So I haven't, like I say, clients have kind of chosen me sometimes. Yes, they like my portfolio because I'm a woman. So my experience has been quite positive. Yeah, I would say the only negative experiences I've had has been as a photographer at events. There, I've had uncomfortable situations with men getting drunk and then coming towards me, but that's not to do with the job per se, you know?
It's
This is another stuff.
Yeah, the situation that you're in, but yeah.
So kind of you haven't felt that you're necessarily in a less beneficial situation at being a woman in your industry so far.
Yeah, exactly.
And what about you, Marina? You mentioned that the funding for research or the research programs, they often promote women in the industry.
Yeah, there are sometimes some funding projects or research projects and these kind of things that requires that 50% of the team are women. And this is, for me, it's good. I think it's the same as Alba said, is to promote equality in research groups and to try to encourage people to maybe hire the same number of men and women. So I think this is nice. But as I told you at the beginning, I'm very lucky. Like in my research laboratory, we are very even. I could also say maybe not so much like in my degree, but we are more women than men, and we are very well considered like totally equal. Like it doesn't mind if you're men or women, they just care about your work and how you develop it. And in fact, I'm very happy with my bosses, very happy with my colleagues. So I have been quite lucky, but I know this is not unfortunately,
The norm.
the
The
rule,
norm,
we can
yeah.
say. Yes.
What about
So,
you,
yes.
Saoirse? Oh, yeah.
I might need to sneeze. No, it's gone.
Oh.
We're all good. I mean, yeah, personally, I have, when we're talking about kind of an entrepreneurial side of things, especially now that I've gotten into the startup world and we're talking about, you know, funding programs and incubators and anything that comes down to starting a company, I've actually felt at a win being a woman. Like I've been able to use it to my advantage for certain negotiations, because I think there are this positive reinforcement of trying to bring more women into the industry, into starting up companies, into especially technical companies as well. So I have kind of felt like it was more of an advantage than a disadvantage up until now. So, for example, when I was discussing with my co-founder starting this company up together, it was a topic of discussion, the fact that, you know, being a young woman that represents the technical side of things, it can look really good for the company because of how the world is evolving and because of how the world is changing. So I've kind of felt like it's more of an advantage. And then, like you say, in terms of funding and things like this, there's often measures in place to promote women or to give them just as a higher opportunity as the men. So I do actually find it so interesting that, so us three, for example, we've had pretty positive experience as being a woman in the industry. And then yet we see this contrast of people in leadership and of women in leadership. Is this because the times are changing now and maybe there'll be more and more women in leadership? Is this because of personality traits? Personally, I've spoken to women in the same situation as me, starting a companies, and I do see a bit of a contrast in how we communicate, how we express ourselves. And I feel like a lot of the women that I've encountered in similar situations that are at a particular level of, you know, leading up to being a manager or to being a CEO, etc., they do have quite masculine traits, like being very bold and being very confident.
I think you see that also a lot in things like politics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
any woman who makes it like for like to a higher position in politics, again, like you say, it's those kind of more masculine traits, and it's very interesting. I feel so like almost lost, like when trying to think about it, because it's like, why is it, why do we feel that that's how we have to obviously act a bit more like that? But why? It's such an interesting topic, and I think it's definitely something that will be changing slowly. But
I believe it's sometimes we as women find the need of being like that to be taken seriously sometimes. And this is quite horrible, because why do I have to change my personality to be a leader? But sometimes if you have to be in charge of men, maybe if you are like kind, you are like, I don't know, not such a bossy person, you can be not taken seriously, or maybe your intentions can be also misinterpreted. So that's why I think that because we have done a lot of work, but I think things are changing for good, but still we have to go for these kind of things.
And like we were saying at the beginning, most people who are in those high like level are men, and I think it's a very human thing to adapt to the situation that you're in, to the surroundings that you're in, so that you feel like you fit in. I think that's just something that we've, because of survival or whatever, it's something that we do. You know, if you're somewhere where people are a certain way, you will kind of change a little bit to be more like them, to not be left out. So maybe it comes down to that. If you do, for example, talking about politics, if you're a woman in politics and you go into a meeting room with 20 other men and there's maybe one other woman in there, you are trying to adapt and communicate in a way that you feel like the rest of the people in that room are going to understand you the best.
Yeah, totally.
And in that case, right now, it is more male dominated. The same as if you go into a room full of chefs, like we were saying, and you are a female chef, maybe they are mainly men. You maybe will adapt more to their kind of personality traits. Maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. It's so interesting.
I think it's also, if we think about even if a room of men, which are the ones that are going to be listened to the most? It's the ones that are going to speak the most confidently, that are going to be the most bold, be the most calm and confident in what they're saying. And maybe it's just the fact that these traits that do make us listen, that do make us
we're drawn to as humans,
believe, tend to be quite masculine traits, which probably has also comes from evolution.
Maybe
being in charge.
But I was thinking this may be a fun story. I was thinking when you were explaining this about the film Ratatouille, that you have this chef in the kitchen, that she's the only one, and when she's talking to Linguini, because this is my favorite film, so I was thinking about
I
it.
love Ratatouille.
That she explained to Linguini that I have to be like this because if not, I cannot survive in a kitchen full of men, basically. So yes, even in films for children, we can see these kind of things. And yeah, I totally agree with this like surviving mechanism to just go with the flow and behave as the
Yeah.
others to not be left out. Yes.
As the people that we're seeing as a reference at the end of the day, that's how you're seeing the people who are leaders act. So you have to act the same, regardless of if you're a man or a woman. But so often, yeah, personality traits that are more characteristically feminine get pushed
Yeah.
aside because we don't feel like they'll be, like you were saying, taken seriously or whatever it might be. It's very
Yes, but also these things are changing for good. I feel now everything is changing because, for example, I
yeah.
have a colleague that did a course of leadership and these kind of things, and they were more into listen to your employees, make them feel comfortable, don't go just to the work part, be a little bit closer to them. And I like these kind of things. Like when you ask me, are you more into mentoring or to be mentored? Now I would like to start putting this into practice and trying to be not a friend because you have to put limits sometimes, but be closer, and also you have to give him or her respect, but you don't have to be bossy or I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and my
Yeah,
bosses
it's
are also like that. Like I'm very happy now. I'm analyzing my situation. Yes, my bosses are very like that. Although they are men, because I told you we are more women in my research laboratory, but my three bosses are men, and I'm very happy with them. But it's true that you can see this.
Yeah, I think it's a good
Uh,
point that you bring up because it just because there are more men in leadership, it does not mean that men are the best at leading.
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Just
of
In
because what we
fact,
course,
see and
yeah,
are used to, does that mean that that's the best?
of
absolutely. And
course.
in fact, it's been proven that if you bring more women into leadership, you can actually the company actually can do financially better. Like there have been studies that
Yeah.
have looked into okay, bringing more women into your board, it can lead to a company working better. In fact, I'll get out some more numbers. I've always got numbers to back up what I'm
Yes.
saying. I'm
This is
not just making
perfect.
things up.
I love it. I love it.
So there was I can add all the sources to our social media afterwards. But there was
Yeah, and in the show notes and everything.
there was a study that proved that it increasing the proportion of women in leadership roles by 30%, so from 0 to 30, experienced a 15% boost in profitability. That's enormous. Organic growth in a company is usually between like 5% per
Oh,
year and like maybe 10%. 15% boost in profitability is
wow.
incredible. And
Yeah.
and then there, like you say, management courses and things like this, we're
Yes,
beginning
they are
to
changing the
yeah, we're
the
beginning
way
to figure out
of
what are
saying you
the
have to be like this. No,
yeah,
maybe it's not
exactly
like
figuring out
that
what's the
the
best
better way.
management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
also
women have
this
actually
made
proven
me
to be better at most of the things, or not necessarily better, but at least just as good as
yes,
men,
as
and
good
then better
as
in other things like comprehension, like patience, like things that make employees. I mean, we've spoken about this in our management episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Comprehending and understanding and being able to have that correct communication with your employees
yes.
is usually going to get better work out of them
Also
and therefore have a company that works better.
emotional intelligence. I think it's very important, not just
Yeah.
intelligence for science or intelligence for financial things. I think that getting this connection will make them feel more comfortable, will, I don't know, at least it works better for me, this kind of leadership, that having only a person like you have to work and who doesn't care about your emotional state. I'm not saying he has to be your psychologist, but at least some kind of connection or being worried about personal important stuff. And also what you were saying, I recently went to an event called Impulso Salud, which there was a whole session only dedicated to health for women, because sometimes historically this also has been a little bit
neglected.
Yes, not considered, we can say. So basically, what was very surprised is that they presented like six powerful, we can say, industries in the innovation of health in Spain, and all the bosses or the leaders were women. So this made me happy, and I spoke with one of them like, how did you got here? And she was also like, I have never felt this discrimination. People have been always very supportive, and I'm here because I work hard. And I don't really know her, but my feelings weren't this kind of bossy, more serious person. It was more like, I don't know, maybe firm, but more relaxed, more emotionally leadership. So I think this is the key. Yes. Also, you have to be confident, of course, but not necessarily
in a
you
more
have to
gentle
be.
way.
Yes, this is the point, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes.
Oh, I love that though. That's so cool.
Yes, I was very happy to see this thing in this event, because I could have never imagined that there were so many industries and they are winning prizes, and they also said this fact of that when you have women in your team, everything is improved. So yeah, I had the advantage of living this in the first in first person,
firsthand.
and this is very inspiring also, because
yeah, absolutely. I think also when seeing women or not seeing women in kind of more leader roles, I think it can also just be that entrepreneurial mindset. I think I saw this thing the other day on, I think it was Instagram, that was saying kids believe that when you tell them that, you know, Santa's going to come and bring them presents, they believe that if they put their tooth under their pillow, a fairy, or in Spain it's a little mouse, is going to come is going to come and take the tooth and leave money. If you tell, you know, they believe in unicorns and fairies, whatever, they believe all these things, especially if it comes from their parents. So if they are told that they're stupid, or they're told that they have certain limitations, they're also going to believe that. So I think it's something that's so ingrained in us, and we've been saying this whole time, things are changing slowly. They are, you know, coming forward, and they are turning into a more equal society. But obviously it's something that happens so slowly because of generations. Parents, they try their best always, and everyone has very different parents. But I've seen in friends' houses how traditional some parents can still be. So they will instill in their children without realizing, they never say to them, oh, you can't be the CEO of that company, but it's with little things of like, why can't I do that? Oh, because women don't do that, or whatever, with little silly little comments. It's the mindset. So I feel like so many women just don't, again, it's not that they think I can't be the CEO. They just don't even consider it. It's not like a goal, you know?
Yes.
And obviously at this point it's so, you're like, oh, but everyone I know has amazing and liberal parents and whatever. Of course, it is luckily slowly changing. But I think there are still so many situations where that isn't the case. And it's like I say, everyone does their best, and they're never trying to put limitations on their children, obviously, but I think it's something that can happen, and I think that plays a big part in why there are right now more men in leadership roles than women.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, it does come down to representation and just knowing what you can do, and the answer is you can do anything, honestly. It's cliche, but if you
but this was the
Mhm.
message I sent at the end of the video for my children, were like, it doesn't mind what you are, you can do whatever you want, just keep studying, keep dreaming, it sounds like very Mr. Wonderful, but you have to think like that, because if not, if you begin with these kind of limitations, maybe you won't develop your whole potential, because you don't know you can do these kind of things. So
just to keep asking yourself, like, but why not? You know, if you, because I feel like it's such a thing of like, I can't do that for whatever reason. You have that thing of like, when something happens and you're like, no, but I can't do that. But like, why not? Why can't I do that? like you were saying, Saoirse, if you work for it, like, you know, obviously I'm actually at the moment, I'm looking to start a new project, and I was saying in my mind, I had to do it all. And of course I could, you know, if I work hard and spend the time doing it, of course you could. You can also ask for help and build a team, and that's also absolutely fine because we are, you know, community-oriented animals. But yeah, that you can do anything that you want. You can obviously also ask for help when you need it, and that's fine, because I think that's something that we also can be very proud about. But yeah.
Yes, we can also
women, I think we're probably better than that. Better at that. Asking for help and being able to collaborate and delegate, and you know, and that obviously that makes us stronger, because working in a team usually
it's going to be more
brains are better than one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we can also show some kind of weakness, or in some kind of periods that we are low, and ask for help, and this doesn't make us, yes, it's what you said, this will make us stronger, because I don't know, for me, collaborating and believing in others and trusting others is the things that make everything goes and improve. So
and it's so much fun.
I don't know. The message is we have to be ourselves. If I sometimes arrive at a leadership position, we don't know, but I am planning to be myself and just be firm, but at the same time, don't change your personality.
Because you also attract, you know, the people that, so if you show your personality, you're going to attract people who like that and are similar either mindset or just are for whatever reason drawn to that. And that's what you want. You want, you know, to form your people, find your people. So it's always going to be positive.
Totally.
Absolutely. I think it's cool to think, Marina, that you're probably going to be a role model for somebody that watched that video.
100%.
Oof, I hope so. No, like they were super cute. Like in LinkedIn, it was for LinkedIn. I'm not like famous or anything. Like still some people are watching it now, and they give me like, and they comment like, you're incredible, I liked it a lot, blah blah blah, because it's something difficult to explain to children, so I made it simple just for them to understand. But then I went to the kindergarten one day, because they also asked for someone who played music, and I played the violin. So I went, so I went
Fun
there
fact.
with my, fun hobby. So I went there with my cousin, and we both played. And when I appeared, they were like, "Oh, she's Marina from the video. Oh, you're so cool." Yes, and I felt so happy about that.
Yeah. And they
Also
always say,
because-
if you can't explain something to a 5-year-old, then you don't know. So
How to explain? Yeah.
You have to be able to explain it to kids.
And at the beginning, it was really a challenge, because I was like, how can I explain what is biomedical engineer? Like, the simplest. But I
Even
think
to a 25-year-old, it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should watch this video.
I think it's, maybe you can think she's silly because I'm speaking like, hello, I'm Marina, like we're here because you have to be like that. But I don't know. I think it's quite accessible. I try to make it like it. So I hope I can maybe inspire one of these children to become whatever they want.
I think definitely. At least even just to have that open mind.
To know that it's possible.
Exactly.
Can you think, Marina, of somebody that inspired you? Do you have any women role models in your life that you think maybe led you to believing that you could do whatever you wanted to do?
Yeah. Okay. So in this question, maybe you're expecting like I'm going to say, wow, this woman in science from the 16th century, I don't know, inspired me. But I'm going to go more into more personal stuff. Like for me, my role female model is absolutely my mother. She was a biologist, and she was the best mother you can ever imagine. And she has always inspired me to do like you can achieve everything. She has always encouraged me, and not only in the I don't know, science field, but also in music, but also socially, but also I don't know. And I don't know, I see her as the role model of my life because she started working when she was very little because she lived in a village, so things before were different. So she worked from very early age. Then she managed to study biology, which in my small village was something that was not so common. And then she started working, and when I was in high school, I think, she presented her PhD thesis. So she managed to do even she got me, and even she was working at the same time. So yes, and then she ended leading her own lab. So I don't know, I felt so proud about her. She has always been very proud about me, I hope. So yeah, I see her like maybe this is cliche also, but for me it's like that. So
I mean, I think it's a really beautiful, I guess, a reason why you are how you are, and you're confident, and you know
absolutely,
that you can do whatever you want because you've had this amazing role model.
Yeah. Yes, and as Alba was saying, these little comments that seem silly things are the most important things. If you receive these from early age, you like kind of learn or you build this conception in your mind. And I have never received these kind of things. The opposite. I have always received more Mr. Wonderful things that sometimes they may be like, okay, but this is not what maybe I need in this moment. But then when you look back, I don't know, I'm very happy about this conception I have in mind. And I don't know. Yes, I feel grateful.
Definitely.
What about you, Bean? Do you have a role model?
Yeah, well, I guess in someone that I actually knew, like Marina was saying, my mom also, because she always, both my parents really, but we're talking about women right now.
Yes, me too, my father also, but we said female role model, so I
she always encouraged. So she works with horses, and from when she was about 7, she was like, I know this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm meant to do. And lots of people, including her parents, out of the kindness of their hearts and because of just wanting the best for her, would tell her that maybe she should get a real job just in case. And different times and understandable. And she always knew that she could, you know, even though she had people saying, you know, that's not a real job, she always fought for that. And because she did have that of people telling her that what, you know, that wasn't a real job, any kind of crazy job that I said I wanted to do, she was like, if that's what you want to do, then, you know, do it, try, why not? You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't matter. You can always study something else. Like, she was always very supportive for me to do whatever I wanted without putting any limitation on, you know, that's maybe not the best or whatever. So yeah, I think she, definitely encouraged me, even in moments when I would think that it's not something that I would be able to do. And she would be the one to say, but why not? You know, why can't you? So I think, definitely not just a role model, but a really like supportive figure throughout my life so far.
I can definitely see your mom saying, why not? Why not?
But what you said about the yes, this is not a real job. Oof, this pissed me off a lot. But because I have seen this a lot in the arts field, we can say. As I played the violin, I have never said, okay, I want to become a musician, professional musician, because I was more into the other engineering part. And my parents have never told me, no, you cannot do this, blah, blah, blah. Bad comments from people outside are always like this, like, okay, what do you do for a living? I'm a musician. Okay, what's your real job? And it's like, or I'm an actor, an actress, or I'm, I don't know. Oof. And this is really like, okay, maybe you are not into these kind of things, but it's a real job, of course.
You have to work just as hard, you know, just because
I would say even harder.
Yes, music is so difficult because it's so, you have a lot of competition, people are so good, and you have to study 8 hours a day. So this is something that is not enough considered, I think.
Yeah. And the horrible thing is that I think in so many cases, it so often is said from a good place. People think they're saying it in a good way. They're saying it out of concern for you, whatever, especially if it's people close to you. You know, they're saying, oh, but, you know, I want the best for you. And I'm worried that if this is what you do, you might struggle or it might not be as easy as you think, whatever. And they normally say it from a good place. They're not trying to make you feel bad or whatever, but it is just so annoying. It's like, this is real hard. If I work hard,
like,
you know,
it's the other way around. It makes you feel like you are not putting the value into what I do. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you,
beautiful
Saoirse?
mothers, beautiful.
Yes, we want to know your role model.
I was thinking about this, and I think I've really learned resilience from my mother. I would say that she's been an amazing example of kind of toughing things out, and she hasn't had the easiest life in the world, and that's a real eye-opener for me. Like, okay, damn, if she can do it, if she can do that, then I can stand and I can do anything, and I can get through the hard times and stuff. And then I would say that, like, inspiration in role models in inspiring me to do what I do or what I would like to do or what I'm working towards is, honestly, I think the biggest role models for me have been people not far from my own age that have been successful entrepreneurs or that have led a project either on their own or within a team. And I think that just shows that the more you can relate, the more they inspire you. Yeah. Because you really put yourself in their shoes and you're like, damn, she's only a couple years older than me, and she's you know, she's led this company, she's led this project, and I feel like I really feel represented and really feel related to that particular situation. So again, I don't think, like you say, Marina, I don't think the role models that have really made an impact in my life are necessarily the historical figures, because it's quite difficult to relate to that. Yeah. It always seems like, oh, they must have been a genius, or they must have been this amazing speaker or something like that. Whereas when you see real life human beings, which they were as well, in your life, that you think, oh, okay, they're just normal human beings that have worked hard enough at what they wanted, that they've succeeded. I think that's been the real inspiration for me. So in the current community of startups or kind of ecosystem that I'm in now, I have seen people my age that have started up companies and succeeded. And I think that's just, I mean, honestly, Alba, you're a big inspiration for me. I think, you know, it's such a good example of working really hard and then succeeding because you've worked really hard. And I, you know, obviously, you know, I've known you for quite a while, and seeing you
just a little bit,
seeing you start from zero and just been like, no, I'm going to do this because that's what I want to do, and I kind of have no choice, and then you just go and do it. You know, I think just going out there and doing it, that's a big inspiration. So yeah,
thank you.
That's nice. Yes, but also I got really inspired with the women I told you in the event because of what you said, that I saw normal women that had their own personality and could lead this and could design really interesting and useful projects. So yes, I think normally we are more inspired or affected by closer people that we can relate to, not just like okay, maybe historical figures also, but I think it's a more daily life stuff than
I think it's because it's in the like nicest way possible. It's if they can do it, why can't I? And not because they're better or worse than you, but you know, exactly, why not? You know, if they're doing it, then why can't I? Like we were talking about that in the so I have a camper van, and we've mentioned a few times, and we were saying that in Switzerland at one point. Saoirse was like, I mean, if you can drive this, then why can't I? And I was like, oh, gee, thanks. She was like, no, I don't mean it like that. I just mean because you're someone that I know that is my age, you know, like if someone that you see that is a real life person in front of you, similar age, it just obviously it's even more impactful. You're thinking, if they can, so can I, and that inspires you and pushes you.
I'd forgotten about it. I think maybe to finish off, something that me and Alba did in our first episode was we gave a piece of advice to kind of our past selves. At the age of maybe thinking about a career. Obviously, you can take time to think about it because I've put you on the spot here. But do you have a piece of advice for maybe particularly young women that are either looking into a scientific route or just life in general? Would you have
at
a piece
that
of advice
age when
for
you're
them?
like 15, 16 and you have to start making decisions and you're thinking, what do I do?
Okay, so to myself, I will say, keep on what you're doing. Like, because each thing I did, I think they brought me here. So I'm proud of all them. Of course, I have suffered or I have took decisions that weren't the best at the moment. But now I feel I have nothing to regret. So just to myself in the past, just keep going with it, and you will get at least to now. We don't know the future. And for girls that are thinking about the scientific career, okay, this is something I didn't really do, but think carefully about this. Like, it's worth it. And if you are lucky, for example, as I am, I have very good colleagues, a really good team, but it's also quite hard. I don't know, maybe in the outside Spain it's different, but from my own experience, I'm like a roller coaster now. I'm very intense, I have to say. Maybe it's a problem of my problem I have with myself. But it's true that I really went with the flow. Like, I studied the career, then I went to do the master outside because this is what it was meant to be. Then I started working before finishing my, oh no, the light. This is what I was meant to be. Then I started working, and then I went into the PhD like not really thinking about it. And now I'm very happy. Like, this was my case. Like, I was happy. Like, I was sorry, lucky that I didn't quite thought about it, but I'm happy now. But if you're thinking about getting into research, it's a very hard world. I don't know. You have to be always studying. For example, I arrive home and I'm always thinking, I can do this, I can do that. And I like this kind of things. But for example, I have a colleague in my lab and she asked me, how are you living PhD? What do you recommend me? And I said, if you are sure, 100%, go for it. It will be worth it. But you have to know that it's not everything pink. Like you will encounter some hard times. So just think, don't go with the flow. Try to wait between each step and take advice of people that are closer to you. But once you find what you really want to do, go for it. Like ask yourself, why not? I think we can sound this episode like with this. But yes, don't just take things for granted. At least it is what I would have also. I would have been happy of receiving this advice when I was
Yeah, I
younger.
guess what to take out of that is when you're looking into what you would like to do or what you think you would like to do, try and find examples and of people that are in
Yeah.
that industry and talk to them.
Yes,
No matter how old you are, people are always going to be happy to talk to you and
of course.
get the inside opinion and view. And if you can go and spend a day with them, then do that. I feel like
Yes.
that wasn't ever said to me, and maybe that's something that we could really promote. Is send an email. It doesn't matter how old you are. Send an
Yeah,
email and
yeah.
say, "Hey,
Don't
I'm really interested
be.
in doing what you
Anyone is
do."
going. No one is going to think, "Oh, who is this girl? What's she doing?" No,
Yeah.
I think the opposite. They're going to think this
Be
person
flattered.
is. Yes.
And
So
yeah, in Spanish, there's the saying of the like, you already have the no, El no ya lo
of
tienes. You
course.
already have the no. So if you send
Yeah,
an email,
yeah,
and you don't get
yeah.
an answer. It's the same. You're in the same situation you were in before. Like it's fine if it doesn't work. It doesn't. You'll ask somebody
Yes.
else,
It's
and
not going to change.
it's fine.
If
Exactly.
it change something, it could be for good, not for bad. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Wow.
Amazing.
Thank you so
Very
much,
good
Marina. It's such a pleasure.
conversation.
Yeah, it was great to have
Thank you
you.
for inviting me.
First
I'm
ever
very
guest.
happy. Yes. I'm going to be honored when you will get famous. I will say
When
I
we
was
get
the
famous,
first
all three
guest.
of us.
Yeah.
I know. We can do like another podcast 20 years later and see our
Yeah, where we're
our
at.
situation. Yeah.
Time capsule.
No,
Yeah,
but for
so
real.
we'll leave Marina's information on our socials if you want to check her out. She's actually
Yeah, my
recently presented her
LinkedIn.
PhD, I believe.
Yeah, it's true. I can do some spam if you leave me. Let me. So yes, I'm now participating in a competition, kind of competition, from the CSIC, which is the principal research organism of Spain regarding science, which is basically present your PhD thesis in 3 minutes. So I created a video basically explaining what I said at the beginning of the podcast, the Parkinson patients things I'm doing. So yes, I don't know if anyone wants more information, they can see this video and they can give a like because it will be helpful for me.
Yeah, we'll link it in our socials as well.
Oh, thank you.
So
And I
people
can tell
can
you if
check it out.
I get into the finals and then if I win or not.
Yeah, we'll get you back on the
please.
pod. You can tell us all about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, let us know if at home you have any stories about being a woman in the working world on any level.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear them and we'd love to talk about them. So you can
Yeah.
find us on
Yes,
our
me
socials,
too.
all
We Will
socials
Manage
possible.
podcast everywhere. We Will
Yeah.
Manage podcast. And yeah, we'd love to hear your stories and we can chat about them, share them if you're comfortable with that. And yeah, we just love to know more about you and about other people's experiences as well.
My tea's gone cold.
Right,
time to wrap
like
up.
Cold tea.
Yeah, this is the time.
It has
It's
been
the time.
over an hour, so.
No, also what I find really interesting is the mix we have of science from my side, more entrepreneur in your side, Saoirse,
Yeah.
and also in the how can I say this? I forgot. The
Creative, maybe?
yes, creative or emprendimiento, but I don't know now.
Yes, yeah, entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yes, entrepreneur.
Like a real
Also-
entrepreneur that actually has her own company, not like me.
No, but
it's
yes, you know, like the
you should.
industry, the industry, the scientific, and the entrepreneur side.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
all-
think it's a
It's really
very
interesting.
yes,
yeah.
and we can share experience.
Hmm
Very enriching.
Yeah,
Aw.
definitely.
Brilliant. Right.
Amazing.
Well,
So yeah. Yeah, thank you so much everyone for
Okay.
listening, and we'll see you next Thursday.
What are we talking about next Thursday? Oh, I don't know what we're talking about.
We
next
don't know,
Thursday.
so yeah, see you there.
Wow.
Bye.